released them as singles to
Okay.
like, boost promotion for the album coming out. And I kept hearing, oh, the album's going to come out this summer. So make sure at shows you tell them like, oh, this summer the album's coming out. Guess what happened? The summer came, the album never came out. And I'm like, guys, it got to the point where, all right, it's going to come out this fall. It's going to come out this winter. I was like, guys, I'm absolutely done. I'm done saying that this album's going to come out because who the hell knows at this point? I'm like, we need to get this damn album out. I'm like, I don't know what's taking too long. I think it was the mastering. We needed to pay to get it mastered. So finally, we get this damn thing mastered and released in 2020. And then like 3 months later, I quit the band.
Well, guys, if you haven't realized by now, it's a dose of reality, and we have the man, the myth, the legend, Adam Gilley. How are you doing, man?
What's going on? I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How was your ride up here, man?
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It brought back a lot of memories because I used to work out at Follett, McHenry,
Okay.
over here, and it was literally taken the same exact way.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, do I not? It's not that I don't miss the drive. I just don't miss
Coming
having to
back out.
wake up and
Yeah.
going to that show.
Yeah. What was it? Is that a factory?
Yeah.
What do they do there?
Count and sort books. They distribute a bunch of books and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not fun. It was something I thought I would only stick around for like a year.
Yeah.
Especially after I dealt with the inventory for the first time. I was like, hell no, am I doing this again?
No.
6 years later. I'm like, really? I got to get the hell out of here.
It's really easy to fall into stuff like that. I worked at a cheese factory in Antioch.
Oh my gosh. Did you know Cody Rathbone?
Why does that sound familiar?
He worked there.
At Deli Source?
Yes, for
Yeah.
like at least maybe a year.
Cody
or
sounds
two.
familiar.
He was like taller. I don't know how to explain him. Lanky dude, like longer scraggly hair, metalhead.
Oh, does he have glasses?
You know what? I think now he has glasses. I don't
Yeah,
know if
and like
did
he
then.
does like the ponytail and stuff usually.
He would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I know him
mean,
because the one guy that I'm thinking of that he was like homeless a fair amount of times.
No.
So it might not be the same guy.
No. Are you thinking of Frankie?
It was a younger guy. I mean, not like a extremely old guy, but definitely like in
Yeah.
his late 20s, early 30s. Looked like
Yeah.
he probably should have a couch or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy literally every day would come with a leather jacket
Yeah.
on, which is cool. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
And would just tell everybody how he slept outside the night before, and
Oh
it's
my
like,
gosh.
fuck, dude.
Like,
I don't even know
damn,
what to
dude,
say in a moment.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Like,
At that moment, it's like being in at a funeral, dude. I just make jokes. I don't know why. I just get so
Yeah.
uncomfortable. I just
I
make a
know.
joke and I walk away.
it's such a weird thing to be to deal with is like when somebody dies.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to talk to people when
No.
somebody dies.
No.
It's the most awkward to ever be in front of. I'm gonna say what everybody else says. Sorry for your loss.
sorry for
Yeah.
your loss. My
Like, yeah.
condolences and shit.
Yeah.
You're
For
sitting
real,
there typing that, just feeling like the biggest asshole in
For
the
real,
world.
like,
Yeah.
and it's like I can't not. I feel like if I don't type anything or don't like it, then I'm not acknowledging it. I'm an asshole, kind of, But at the same time, it's like I don't want to like it. I don't want a sad face. I don't want to do any of it. Like
Yeah.
I just want to go, man. Here's a hug, but I can't
Right.
because you're through. You're
Yeah.
at your house, whatever.
I
I
think-
mean,
Go ahead.
yeah, I don't know. That is so weird because it's like, do you really sit there and be like, hey, sorry? Like,
There's none to
what are
say.
you apologizing for, first of all? And
Yeah.
secondly, like there's not really a good thing to say when you know,
Yeah.
especially when it's some like family or some shit. It's just like, yeah, man, your mom passed away. Sorry for your condolences,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I think the one thing that gets me the most is like when your family members are like, or like anybody that shows up is like, oh, like this person looks so good now. You know what I mean? Like they're in
oh
the
my
casket.
god,
Oh,
bro.
and they're
hell
just-
no.
Have you ever heard a family member say that? Like,
Yes,
oh, like
I
this person
have,
looks
bro.
so good now. Like, I don't know the situation before, but maybe now looks better. You know what I
don't
mean?
know
And
how that's possible.
I'm thinking in my head like it's pretty screwed up that like everybody's getting like sexual thoughts when
Like,
this person is sitting there in
like,
the
the
casket.
best-
like I'm not worried about how
Yeah.
this person looks.
The best
Right.
time
You know
they
what I
look
mean?
is when they're dead.
That's
Jesus
crazy.
Christ,
No,
Hey.
bro.
here's the thing: I've been to many memorials, funerals, or whatever, and I've seen a lot of open caskets.
Yeah.
And every damn time, they don't look the same.
No.
They look so wretched to me. I'm like, oh my god. So my friend passed away back in 2013.
Okay.
And I was like, damn, this sucks. Went to her wake, and I could see from a far distance, you could see the casket with like some of her face peeking out of it, but it was enough to see her. And I turned my head. I was like, screw that. I'm not going up there. Once I get up there, I'm going to just shake her dad's hand and just be like, man, I'm so sorry. This really sucks.
No.
And then I'm just going to walk past the casket. I'm like, that's not how I'm going to remember her. And it was so fucked up. Look, she did not look.
Absolutely.
Like her.
I like to always, I feel that way too. I'm not even like I'll go to a funeral obviously just to like pay my respects to the fam, but I'm not trying to see that person because I always want to remember them, how you looked in the good times, you know? Like I always want to remember the good times too, you know? So it's just like, that's the only way I'm trying to remember somebody for real.
Yeah.
That's crazy that my family is the only one getting sexual at funerals, man.
The only damn, that dead body looks pretty good.
God damn, you know?
I'm perplexed right now because I've heard this multiple times.
No, I've heard it too.
Like my buddy passed away a couple of years ago, and he died in a motorcycle accident. And when they had like kind of done him up, he was kind of blown up with fluid because
damn balmy.
Right, yeah. And he looked way like bigger than when he was, and like everybody's sitting there like, oh, he looks so good, like he looks so good, and I'm like looking at everybody like, guys, I know he was on drugs, but he does not look that good. Okay,
he does. Yeah, it's like first of all, motherfucker's dead.
Yeah,
anybody dead don't look good.
Yeah, no. But I'm not that strong, man. I'm not that strong. Speaking of strong, I like the strongman mustache going on there. I know I haven't seen it before, but this is looking good, man.
I mean, I started growing this thing back in January. I just stopped shaving, and
so it doesn't grow in on the sides.
It doesn't. It doesn't like connect.
That's
down
perfect.
Here. I'm Patch Adams down here.
That's perfect.
So, honestly, I always thought I looked dumb with a mustache. And she's like, yeah, you should just grow it out and see how far you can go with it and see what it looks like. And I'm like, what do you think? And like, just let it grow out all thick? Because I don't think it would. She's like, yeah, screw it. And it just kept growing, and it started molding itself into this flow.
Yeah.
And I'm digging it. And I'm like, hell yeah, okay. But now she doesn't want me to shave it.
At all.
Yeah, she's like, no, you're going to keep that. I'm like, man, sometimes I just want to cut this shit off. Like when I'm taking a sip and you can feel it. I don't know. I'm not used to the mustache.
When I'm eating, that's the issue. I'll get like hair in my mouth. And honestly, like the longer it grows, the more I kind of develop an accent. So I really have to be careful when I go into TSA.
No kidding.
Yeah. Was that for you too? Are you like developing like a French accent with that strongman mustache?
No, that'd be hilarious if I was though.
Oui, you know, a little bit.
Oui, oui. No, not at all.
No. Maybe the cigarettes?
No cigarettes, not yet. I don't know if I could ever do cigarettes. That's one thing I never got into.
I stopped a couple of years ago, and I'm not going back.
You know what? That's dope. Like, you don't hear that as much now that people are just like, yeah, I never really smoked cigarettes at all. It's usually like, yo, I smoked for a long time, but I stopped, happy as hell. But, like, that's nice when you never start. Like,
I tried it in 8th grade, I think. And I remember my buddies, we were all smoking behind a shed, and one of my buddies gave me a whole cigarette. And I was like, cool, I'm going to smoke this on my way home from your house. And I did. And I smoked most of it. And then I just was like, I can't do this. And I just threw it on the ground. And I felt nauseous that whole goddamn night. I was like, all right, well, I'm never doing that again. And I've never touched a cigarette since.
Let's get into why we brought you here, man. I know you started out. Did you start out? Okay, let's break it down. So I know you're a man of many talents. So where do you want to start off? You want to start off with the music, or you want to start off with the tattooing?
I guess let's start with the music, I suppose.
Okay. All right, let's get into it.
So what do you want to know? Like how I first got started?
Yeah, so was Product to Hate the first band that you started with?
No. My first band was back in 2002. It was the first band I was in called Ruined.
Okay.
And it was with a buddy of mine, Alex, and then a couple of their friends. And, that's kind of where it all started. I remember going to local shows in high school, looking up to the local bands. You know, I was the front and center, headbanging my face off, like the biggest fan. I'm drawing who ended up becoming good friends of mine, the headliner band, Defy at the time. Me and my buddy Alex would draw them like really badass pictures and be like, here, you guys gonna have this? It's like skulls and says their band name.
Yeah.
We were such dorks.
Hey, bro, I was fanboying at your concert.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was headbanging at your concert for sure, man.
Fuck yeah. it's just wild because Mark from Product of Hate was in Defy.
Okay.
So I got to know Mark because of that, like through high school and shit. And my band Ruined at the time would play a lot of shows with Defy, and me and Mark became pretty good friends that way. And after that, I got into this other band called Through the Ashes, kids from Kenosha. And that went on for a couple of years, and I remember needing Mark to fill in on bass for a show because our bass player couldn't do it. So it's like there was me and Mark crossing paths again.
Yeah.
And then that band didn't really work out. I still remain friends with all those guys. And then fast forward, I remember not being in a band for quite some time, and it really bugged the hell out of me because I'm seeing my friends all in bands, and they're playing shows, and I just want to play a damn show so freaking bad.
Yeah.
You know, it's been so long.
How long did you take a break for?
I want to say it was probably from... I was probably 18 when I stopped with Through the Ashes, and I picked back up when I was 23 with Product of Hate.
So like a full 5-year gap.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much.
Wow.
And I jammed with people in between, but it just never fell into place, never worked out. And then I end up going to a buddy of mine's band practice, my buddy Kendon. He's always played drums. I've known him for years.
Yeah.
And he's like, you should come to our practice and just jam with us. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, why not? Even though their music's not my style. It was like very... I don't know. I don't want to say emo at the time, kind of.
Okay.
And their name was Back on Twilight, and I was like, I can't get behind that band. Especially because the movies had come out shortly, around that time. It's like, damn, that really sucks for you guys because it sounds bad.
Team Bella, I got you.
Oh God, damn.
So
you got people in the audience. Team Edward.
I mean, I've never been in the crowd with when they played shows. They played one show with us way back in the day when I was with Through the Ashes. But that was way before Twilight and all that came out. So
so they're OG of the OG.
Yeah.
Right.
And
right.
I went to their practice. I jammed with them. I was not feeling it at all. I was like, damn, this sucks. I forgot my hat over there, and then the drummer, Mike, he calls me up. He's like, hey, man, you forgot your hat. And I'm like, I know. He's like, you should come over and jam with us again. I'm like, oh, yeah, we could do that. And in my head, I'm like, son of a bitch. I don't want to jam with these guys again. They're just not my thing.
Right.
So I go there, and they're playing Lamb of God and all sorts of heavy shit. And I'm like, wait, this is completely different than what you guys were first jamming, the first time around. Was
it their music they were jamming at first, and now they're...
I think so.
Okay.
And they wanted to go the heavier route, which is why they asked me to jam with them.
Right.
And then they started playing Lamb of God, and they're like, this is our style, like what we're leaning towards. And I'm like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So after jamming for about a few hours, I decided to move forward and be in the band. And then Kendon and his brother ended up leaving the band. I actually think we kicked them out because they weren't showing up to practice.
No.
And we were like, well, this train's moving with or without you.
No.
And it sucks because it put like that wedge in between me and Kendon for a while. But, we're good friends now.
That's good.
He's a good dude. So it's like, fuck yeah, man. That made me feel good when he came back around. It was like, it's no hard feelings. It's just... When I joined the band, I told him, I was like, I will not put up with any bullshit. You try to cancel practice for some stupid reason, I'm already going to be like, I don't know about you.
Right.
And the first day of practice, Kendon left, and he was mad. So when I showed up, Mike's like, do you see Kendon? I'm like, yeah, he was downstairs. He's like, yeah, well, he left because he's angry. And I'm like, what the fuck? So we had to chase him down and be like, get the fuck back in the car. We're having band practice.
Yeah.
Right.
But eventually it didn't work out.
That's how we are with the podcast as well.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So we were called Eye for an Eye. Mike ended up taking up drums instead of rhythm guitar, and then we got Cody's brother Gene to play lead, and then we had Mark play bass. So that's where I called Mark in, and then just kind of all the band members fell into place after I joined, and then Eye for an Eye went on for a little while. Then we had to change our name because some band in Canada had the same name, same spelling, because it was like the letter I, and the letter I.
But it's Canada, though. What does that have to do with here?
Because of copyrights. And if they sold any merchandise then it's like their name's already out there.
Yeah.
And we were just about to press our album, like get the our 6-song EP pressed and released.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God they messaged us in time, so we had to think of a different band name.
Yeah.
So we didn't print out 300 CDs with Eye for an Eye and then be like, shit, we have to change it. You know what I mean? And already have these printed. So yeah, we ended up figuring. We just took a song name. That's what we chose. Product of Hate. And it sounded stupid, I think, at the time. And I just
Which is a badass name, though.
You think so?
I like that name. I like that name. Like,
Right on.
I think
I do like that.
Especially like the angle that you were coming from at the time. You know what I mean? The lane that you were going in. I think that it was just that was the, I don't know, that everything that flowed with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe. Because when we first came with the Dose of Reality, it wasn't like, this is the name, this hits, you know what I mean? And now, like, the longer it goes in, it's like, okay, this is who we are, you know? And if we change, it's going to be a different variation of this, you know what I mean? It's never going to be something completely different, you know what I mean? Reality is going to be in it, or a Dose is going to be in it, or something, if we had to, you know?
I get you.
So, yeah, no, Product of Hate, though, that's a badass name.
I like that. I do like that name. I do.
had a couple friends who were like, dude, it's so cheese. I'm like, shut the hell up. I'm like, we need a band name. This is what it is.
It's
Suck it up.
supposed to be cheesy, though.
Yeah.
Everything that rings a bell is cheesy.
And you know what? It grew on me. It grew on me pretty fast. And then when I seen the logo, we finally had somebody do the logo.
So I got one of the albums back there.
Yeah, right there, underneath the sand.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's our newest, second album to the band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got almost everybody's signature on there. I don't know if your signature's on there, though.
It is.
Okay.
Should be. That took too damn long to get that album out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, show that on camera, Aaron.
I jammed with these guys for about 13 years, almost 14 years.
Wow.
We got signed to Napalm Records. No thanks to the guitar player in my band now.
Okay.
He hooked us up with that. And we got on some pretty cool tours with this band Mushroomhead, Skin Lab, I Kill Ya. So it was fun.
Yeah.
Toured all over the United States. I would always see like some crazy ass people wigging out in like Portland, all high off drugs, freaking out in the streets. And you know,
the Sharks and the Jets.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I remember going to it was on the East Coast, up in like Rhode Island or some shit, and I just looked across the street and I just see these two people sitting on a bench, and this old woman's hair is just like just looked like wind had hit it, but it stayed froze in mid, you know, like crusted like that.
Touch with the electrical things.
And she had like this lipstick that I felt like went over her lips, like she didn't properly know how to put lipstick on. Next to this frumpy guy, it's like, damn, this could be a cartoon sketch.
Yeah.
For sure. And you go just sitting there, and I was like, I'm going to go get a picture with these people. Hey, can my friend take a picture with you? I'm taking a picture of people from around the United States. And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. And I'm like, you know, they have no idea. Just some asshole.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because they look goofy as hell.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, fast forward. In 2020, it just, the band was like kind of, I don't know, I felt like I was so drained from it that it just didn't seem like it was going to get anywhere, you know. We had gotten off the label.
Now we're in 2020.
Yeah, so we're in 2020, and we were busting our asses trying to get this album out. So we had recorded this album since 2018, I believe, is when this album was recorded. And then we had to get it mastered. So we got a couple songs mastered in 2018, released them as singles to like, you know, boost promotion for the album coming out. And I kept hearing, oh, the album's going to come out this summer. So make sure at shows you tell them like, oh, this summer the album's coming out. Guess what happened? The summer came, the album never came out. And I'm like, guys, it got to the point where, all right, it's going to come out this fall. It's going to come out this winter. I was like, guys, I'm absolutely done. I'm done saying that this album's going to come out because who the hell knows at this point. I'm like, we need to get this damn album out. I'm like, I don't know what's taking too long. I think it was the mastering. We needed to pay to get it mastered. So finally, we get this damn thing mastered and released in 2020. And then like 3 months later, I quit the band. And I was like, well, I guess you know, I'm just happy that damn album got to see the light of day.
Yeah.
And
So, just real quick, what was like the hold up in the album? Was it just the mastering, or was it like creative issues where you weren't able to
You
get,
know
you
what?
know?
Come to think about it, and going back, we had a hiatus for a moment, and
From performing or just
no,
recording?
just within the band.
Okay.
Just issues, turmoil,
Mm.
and that we definitely took like 3 months dealing, like not talking to some of the members of the band, you know. And that was around the time the songs were recorded. We were just waiting for it to get mastered. And at this point, it was like, well, what's the band gonna do? Like, we wanted to let go of some of the band members, wanted to kick out other band members, and some of the other band members didn't want to do that. And it was like a stalemate, you know. And we were sitting there back and forth, and finally, we worked out an agreement and went on for there. I think we maybe played a couple shows since then. Got the album out or whatever. That's when we finally got the damn album out. And then 3 months later, I decided I wanted to leave. They weren't too happy about it, but I was like, guys, I'm just sorry. I just feel like if we were to get big, it's not gonna last long. Something's gonna happen, and it's just gonna freaking fall apart. And I don't want it to get to that. I don't want to get to the point where, you know, we're fist fighting each other in a parking lot, and I hate all your guts. I was like, I love you guys, so I'm just gonna stop now. And I was like, I'll just do tattoos. I don't care. And then 2 months later, my buddy Sean shows me some of his riffs, or my buddy Alex shows me some of Sean's riffs, and I was like, damn, dude, this stuff is badass. I just want to sing on it, and I don't even have to be in the band. Just let me sing on it.
Yeah.
So eventually, I sang on it, and then they're like, you should sing in the band. I was like, son of a bitch, I knew you guys were gonna ask that. So it took me a couple weeks to finally like be like, all right, I'll do it. And I just was like, well, this is my last kind of like ditch effort with music.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, fuck it. Let's do it. What do I got to lose? You know?
Right.
And so I started jamming my buddy Sean. He used to be years ago in the band Soil. I don't know if you guys know Soil at all.
I've heard of it.
And then he ended up going off on his own and doing this band Dirge Within. So Product of Hate played a lot of shows with Dirge Within.
Okay.
So that's how I got to know Sean. And then I actually filled in singing for his band, doing direct support for Static X.
Okay.
At House of Blues. That was wicked.
House of Blues is a magical place.
Yeah, man. And just direct support for Static X. He's like, you want to do it? I had like 5 days to learn the songs.
Yeah.
Like 9 songs. Yeah, I'll do it. I don't give a shit. I will learn these lyrics one way or the other.
Right.
And I remember working at Follett with the headphones in, just the set list on repeat for 8 hours a day. And then when it came time to the show, I had the lyrics that I was, had issues remembering fucking all over the stage in certain spots so I could read them.
Nice.
That was a wild moment. And then
how'd that go?
It was badass. The crowd went absolutely ape shit. And a lot of them were very surprised because they were expecting the original singer.
Okay.
And that guy just kind of bailed on the band. Like, no, I got other priorities. I'm not going to be able to do the show. And I'm like, what?
He's
going to turn down freaking direct support for Static X at the House of Blues.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's stupid.
That's ridiculous.
Sign me up, brother. I know there's going to be 300 at least in that place.
Yeah.
And that place was absolutely balls to the wall packed. It was from the front to the back, side to side. Each, they have like the balconies.
Mm-hmm.
Both balconies were all taken up. Dude, it was a moment. That is for sure. I was like, this is the most crowd I've ever played in front of. So I'll take that. And then...
have you ever told the people on the balcony to jump? I've always wanted to do that.
No, I would never do that.
I've always been on stage.
Why
and like,
would you say
if you
that?
guys really want to have a wild time, just jump.
Just jump from the balcony.
Jump.
That's
ridiculous.
ridiculous,
You
bro.
love me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the
John
crowd
Wilkes
will
Booth
catch
it.
you. I promise.
if they
you guys
don't-
will catch them, right? See, I told you. They'll do it. Just
Kid
jump.
Cudi jumped off stage recently, broke his ankle.
Yeah, fucking crazy bastard.
I was gonna ask you, how is like the writing music process in a band? So I was like a little solo artist for a little bit. So obviously it's like I do whatever I want. So in that band setting, how is that creative process like going through stuff?
Usually, when it comes to like writing, the guitar player, the rhythm guitar player, usually will have a verse. You know, like he'll have the main riff. Like, dude, check out this riff I came up with. Like, yeah, that'll be a fucking awesome verse. And then they just create a transition to figure out the next part for, like, whether it goes into a pre-chorus, then into the chorus. So basically the whole song gets written before I even put lyrics to it. So I sit there and I listen to the song when it's done, and then I'll, like, think of lyrics. I'll think of lyrics during the process of them writing, but I don't know how the melody is going to be. So if I write these lyrics 10 to 1, I might scratch half the lines and have to rewrite them to fit the melody. But with this band, Sean's been going into my buddy Alex recording the riff. So when we write new music, he'll just go into Alex, record the song, send them to me right away. So instead of having to do it at band practice, we're like teaching everybody the song, and then I have to sit there and listen to them freaking play it 100 times,
and then sing.
And then I could start thinking of lyrics and actually coming in.
That would take way too long.
Yeah. So once the song's already done, I'll start putting together like lyrics, but I can get memory fog with that shit. You know, I'll have ideas for songs like, yeah, fuck yes, when we record this album, next album, I'm going to write about this topic or that topic. Then here comes the songs, sending me the songs to write lyrics to, and I'm like, what the fuck am I going to write about? I'm like, shit. And then I have to, like, listen to other music to kind of get the creative gears rolling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, that's pretty much how I do it. I'll be on the shitter and think of lyrics.
Yeah. That's awesome, yeah.
Is there, because, I mean, I can't even fathom how you hit some of those notes, bro. Is there any, like, special, I mean, what is the process, like, behind that? You know what I mean? Like, do you have to take, how are you taking care of your voice? You know what I mean? Or do you even take care of your voice? Because I can't just go on stage and bust notes out like that. I know Aaron can't go on stage and bust notes like that.
Screams and shit.
I mean, like, just without completely losing my voice, and I wouldn't even hit those notes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's all practiced. So how are you doing that, man?
Since I've been doing it since 16, 17 years old, I just remember being at my buddy Alex's place. He seriously was attached to the hip with me in high school.
No.
My wife will make comments like, you guys are so fucking gay. And I'm like, no, we weren't. She's like, oh, I bet you were. I'm like, fuck off. Like, she's such an asshole. I love her.
It's the bromance.
Yeah.
It's the bromance.
I was like, he's my bro. He's my boy, you know? Anyways, I remember being at his house and screaming, trying to get that scream down.
Yeah.
That tone and everything. And I was screaming to Mudvayne's Dig at the time because that was popular, and I thought that song was badass. And that's kind of how I learned how to do it. And yeah, it destroyed my voice at first. But I think when he was like, you got to go lower and then go higher for the certain parts, I could feel myself using like more my diaphragm and my stomach muscles. Like it felt like I was doing 100 sit-ups. And I could feel that it wasn't straining my voice so much. It wasn't like up here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I already had that know-how to just be like, you know, try to get low, you know? And that's kind of where it stemmed. And I had to kind of find my way. But I always have to warm up before I just start screaming like an asshole. If I don't practice and I just go play for an hour, my voice will be screwed for a good couple days. So it's just warming up before shows, and I just kind of, you got to know the proper technique, I guess. And I just happened to stumble across it.
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody teach me.
Yeah. So it's like you almost have to have a gift before it even happens, before you even start working on it.
The high screams, I just figured those out on my own. I just remember I wasn't even in a band at the time. This other band was playing. I was there for the show. They brought me on stage just to sing bullshit backup, you know?
Yeah.
And I didn't even know their music. So I was just screaming into the microphone, whatever the lyrics were, just kind of repeating. And I just remember climbing on top of the speaker, just doing this really gnarly high scream. And I was like, holy shit. Like, I could freaking Phil Ensemble that high scream that he could do. Like, I could do that. And I just remember freaking ripping those the rest of the time, you know, at that show. And that's how I figured out how to do the high screams. And that was like game changer for me. So
Very cool, man. Because like you literally like when I was watching you perform, and even the video I took, I had posted it up. It literally it looks like you do it seamlessly. Like when you're transitioning seamlessly, and there's no seriously. When you're sitting there, it would if I was doing it, I would be putting everything into it. That's why I don't know. I'm amazed by it. It's very cool, man.
Man, I was so beat up on that stage.
Oh, after that performance?
Just all of it. Like after the first song, I was like, I couldn't breathe. It was so bad. I was like, all right, I'm gonna be sweating my ass off. I'm losing my breath. I need some freaking water, you know. And I always find like my second wind halfway through the set. And because we don't play out all the time, I'm not used to this shit.
Yeah.
So
because you're more so touring than just playing out.
My neck still hurts. My back a little rough. But
so I was gonna say, like, do you have like what's the craziest like tour or road story that you remember that you can share with us?
Oh, the wildest.
Remember, he's married.
Yeah, right.
Let's start
there. You can share with us. That's why I said that. I'm letting you.
There's a few of them. I mean, I remember the people that you would come across at shows. You'd come across some just weirdos. We'd call them reapers.
Okay.
And those are the people that would just linger around you and just all they want to do is talk music. And the last thing a musician really wants to talk about is music.
Yeah.
And then they just stick there and want to tell you about their life story, and you're like, shit, how do I stop talking to this guy? So then I go, hey, Mike, come here. You know, whoever's in the band, you know, like, hey, Brandon, come here. Yeah. And I'm like, this guy really likes your drums. Oh, yeah. So then the guy will start talking to him, and then I'll just kind of sneak out of there.
Slip one out.
And then I'll, come back. Dude, you're such an asshole, man. You left me with that guy who wouldn't shut up. I'm like, hey, I had to get out of there somehow. I didn't know how to just... put an axe to that without being a jerk, so I had to use you.
That's a universal thing, because I swear everybody wants to start talking about themselves and how they're involved in your thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you came up to me to ask me about me. Cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. But now you want to involve your life story in my story.
You want us to intertwine.
This is a one-way conversation at this point, my friend. I get it.
Oh, for sure.
Like those traffic cones that were in front of the stage.
Yeah, that guy was at our last show. Well, not the last one, but we played a show in Milwaukee with Orbit Culture.
Okay.
Back in September, and he was there. That was the first time we seen him.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember being on. That was such a wild fucking show. Like, definitely off the wall for playing the bar at the rave. And I've played that bar stage so many times.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, damn it, we're playing that stage. It sounded amazing. The crowd was absolutely insane. The place was so packed you couldn't walk. And that motherfucker was there with a cone, just going ape shit. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this crowd is insane. And at the end of the night, I pulled that motherfucker on stage with the cone, and then he made us sign the cone. And ever since then, he started following us. And he goes to shows. They would let him back in the rave with that cone. I'm like, man, I'm surprised they let him in that place. We put him on the guest list for this show.
The rave is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, I feel like...
Or maybe it was when I was 16.
I feel like they're more sticklers.
When was that,
now.
though? Jesus
11,
Christ,
12
bro.
years
Relax.
ago.
I guess when I was 16, things can change in 10 years.
I saw so many things at the rave. More at that time, it was more like EDM and rap, but at that time.
I've been to one EDM show there. And it was probably around that time, actually. Yeah, probably 12,
Excision.
13.
I saw Excision there.
Oh,
and I saw Flatbush Zombies. And
I seen Bass Nectar.
Bass Nectar?
That's who headlined.
That is I can't remember, OG of OG.
Yeah, I can't remember who else played with them. There's nobody I've never heard of.
Yeah, MGK probably came out of nowhere at that lineup. Whoever the fuck he was at that time.
I don't think he did, but it was definitely my first time being at one of those. Yeah. And I brought a friend with me, and I just... it was definitely different from a metal show. For sure. You see people with light up shirts, girls with these fishnets, like bright colors and shit. I'm like, you slutty little fuckers. I'm like, damn, I need to be at more of these. You know?
I'm sure they've cracked down though. Now I'm sure is it 18 and up now, or are they still letting everybody in?
I have no idea.
I think it depends on the show now.
Yeah.
Because I want to say I saw somebody was gonna be there. and
That was
like
like a
it was an
21 and
all
up.
ages show. But then
Oh.
I saw something else where it was like a younger, older show, 21 and up.
Yeah,
So
they're cracking. They're like I remember walking in there the first time I ever went to the rave, and I had a whole cigarette pack full of pre-rolled joints.
Holy.
But I did not like just put joints in there. I
Right.
obviously put them in the actual cigarette filter. I would just
Yeah,
take the
yeah.
filter out when I was done. But
Right.
if it's unsealed, they'll just start opening your and looking inside of it.
Wow.
And they looked at me and they were like, "Yeah, you're not taking these in if you want to come in." So I was like, "All right, then just take them, I guess, because I still want to see the show." And then my
Yeah.
buddy behind me also had a cigarette pack full of joints.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Are you guys together?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Get the f out of here!" Just gave us the joints back.
No shit.
And we ended up meeting this guy.
why would you say that you were together, bro?
Bro, I was 16. I was just like, I don't know, like
Even
yeah.
at 16, I would have been like,
Dude,
I don't, dude.
I was nervous, man.
But they gave him the cigarettes back.
Listen.
The joints.
I'm a
You
comedian.
didn't get in, didn't
all
you?
right?
Pay for the ticket?
I got nervous, man. I was just nervous. I got nervous and I was just speaking, okay? I mean, this one woman told me that I was in the wrong line because there was only females supposed to be in that line. She was
What?
going to search me and
Oh,
because
okay.
I thought
Oh,
she was
yeah,
pointing
yeah,
at me and then
yeah.
I'm like, now I'm really freaked out. I'm like, I don't know, man. I was
Oh,
probably
you were
fucked
scared?
up. I was probably tripping on acid when I was there. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know?
That
And I
is
was tweaking.
terrible.
So, but regardless, we went for a walk afterwards. I'm going to finish this story, Aaron. We went for a walk afterwards, and this guy comes up to us, and he's just like, "What are you guys doing?" And he was nice, and we smoked our joints with him because obviously we had to kill him before we left. It was me and like 3 of my other buddies,
Yeah.
and he just looks at us, and he's just like, "You guys ever done bath salts before?"
Get the fuck.
At that moment, bro, I thought that we were all gonna fucking die,
Yeah.
literally, because I was
Yeah.
tripping, and
Oh
this
my
guy was
God.
on bath salts, and he
No
was like
shit.
really trying to.
I wouldn't want any part of that.
He was trying to diddy us, but
Trying to diddy us.
thought
Come
I'd
here,
throw
man.
that one. I thought I'd throw that one in there. I don't know.
Come here, man. I want to take you back to my house.
I got cameras
I'm just gonna
everywhere.
give you a touch.
Well, who's worse, man? Epstein or Diddy?
Oh my
No.
God, Jesus Christ! It's like, which is stinkier,
man.
baby shit or dog? Jesus.
All right, we don't have to answer that one.
But my money's on Epstein. My
All
money's
right,
on
me
Epstein.
too, me too. Where did we end off? Before?
I was gonna ask,
Go ahead.
do you think that? Because I feel like when I was younger, at least there were more mainstream bands, and I feel like there's not as many as they were when I was coming up. Do you think that has to do more with like people being able to record more on their own, or all the technology of the music industry, or why do you think that is?
Well, to be honest, I think it's because of the way that music is today. Like everything's downloaded, everything's free. Like you don't have to put out CDs, and there's so many people trying to be in bands. So you have all these bands coming out at once, and labels get to the point where they don't even invest their money as much into some of the bands. They just throw them. It's like throwing shit at a wall, seeing which one sticks. All right, that's the one we'll invest our money in. The rest of them, we'll cut them off the label because they're not doing shit. And then they'll write them off as like probably a tax break, And I feel like back in the day, maybe it wasn't so much like that. Maybe there was not as many bands signed to a label, so the label was able to throw more money into the band. Because when I grew up, I always thought bands got paid getting their music played on the radio. Right. When in fact, you have to spend thousands of dollars to have it spun on the radio. So unless you want your band to be big and popular, you need at least $20,000 to frickin' throw at 95 Rock to get your band heard. Nowadays. Yeah, the music industry's definitely changed a lot since I was a kid. And it sucks because I remember growing up seeing bands on TV, watching the music videos, and I've always wanted that.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a big fat victim storyline in order for you to come up.
It's just so hard to I just remember seeing those bands on TV, wanting to get that, and finally, let's say when my band did get signed, there was no us being played on the TV because nobody streams music videos on the TV anymore. It's all on YouTube. So I was like, damn it, I never got to have that, where you get to see yourself on TV. Like, damn, that's me on MTV.
MTV is
like
exactly
that
what
would
I
have been
was gonna say,
fucking legit. And I've met a lot of people that have been featured on there and shit like that. And it's like, dude, what was that like? Dude, it was so sick. I mean, you're sitting there with your friends and your family waiting for your you know your song's about to be played on TV, so you're just waiting that whole hour, you know, for your song.
Yeah.
Like, I never had that. I want to know what that's like, but here we are in a different time.
Yeah.
And it's just like all at your fingertips, you know.
Almost like the music in the music business, you don't even make the money like you used to be able to make
You
in
can
this,
make a lot of money,
but just not the same way.
No, it's off of live shows. You got to be
Tours,
out
right?
there, yeah.
You got to be touring all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Touring, so merch sales like that, and guarantees, like that is how you make money.
That's with everything too. Yeah.
If your band's really fucking good and you guys have a really good following, yeah, you'll be able to sell some merch. I mean, we did pretty well for ourselves last weekend.
Oh yeah, you sold out immediately.
Yeah, we
couldn't even get a shirt, bro.
I mean, we probably made, I don't know how much we made exactly. I didn't count it all.
$10,000.
I wish. It was less than 1,000, but still awesome to be able to just make that, you know. I remember being in a band making $80 at the merch booth a night and barely making 100. You know, it's just like seeing $600 one night or like 1,000. I'm like, damn, that's awesome. Pretty soon, if we keep this up and sell more merch at shows, we could actually put money in our pockets and put money away in the band. Because right now it's like all the money that we get goes straight back into the machine, you know.
Yeah, I get that too.
Yeah.
It's funny how you don't really think about it, but I mean, obviously running a business is the same no matter what. But I mean, just the differences in how the money is being made. You know what I mean? Obviously, you do music, I do stand-up, and then we do the podcast and stuff like that. But how the similarities in it, I never really realized until, obviously, just talking about it.
Pretty wild. I've always wondered how like the stand-up thing worked too.
Oh, it
how, like,
sucks.
I can't imagine because you're only up there for how long? How long do you spend up there?
Well, it depends what you're doing. It depends if you're going to just like an open mic or if like you're headlining and you're doing a 30-minute set or an hour set.
Okay, so a headlining set would be about an hour.
About an hour, yeah.
Okay.
Hour of some solid material. You might go on a little bit less, but about an hour.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
I did stand up once.
How was that? We have footage. Pull up the clip.
There's no footage. It was an open mic night. You know Easy? Eric Easy?
I don't think so.
He does an open mic thing in Kenosha.
Okay. I'm sure Trevor talked about him.
He doesn't know him too well either.
Okay.
Which I'm kind of surprised because I feel like everybody's kind of like everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
His girl knows Easy has gotten tattooed by him.
Oh,
way back.
That's probably where the name came up.
Yeah, but so Easy's like, dude, we're doing this open mic every Monday. I had off practice. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to try it. I've always wanted to do stand-up and shit like that. And the wife's like, you're an idiot, but go for it if you really want to. So I did. I went up there, and I could see that there's other people there to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all there is. There's nobody else in the crowd that's there just to watch. I'm literally, all right, so I'm about to get up there and do this stand-up in front of other people that are going to get up there and do stand-up. So I'm being judged.
Yeah, already you're just off on the wrong foot.
Yep, I'm like, damn. So I'm like, whatever. I put myself kind of towards the bottom of the list. I let people kind of put themselves on first, at least a good 2 or 3. And I let them go ahead, and I got an idea and read the room kind of, you know, and how everything is going.
Right.
And everybody's reading off a paper, reading off their phone. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm just going to talk about some experiences, you know, because I could easily go on. That's my thing, is I could literally just ramble on about some stupid-ass story that I've done in the past.
Yeah.
And, you know, I could exaggerate that shit and make it nasty or, you know, whatever I got to do. And I did. I talked about, like, my buddy turning 18 and renting this porno, because I just remembered this porno being so disgusting. It was called, like, Pussy Perverts. Nothing about this had anything to do with a pussy getting fucked. It was all anal. These girls were getting blasted in the ass. And that's what I literally talked about for the 3 minutes.
No, that's crazy as hell.
Oh, man.
And I probably got a little more laughs than anybody else did in that place, even if it was for a hot second, you know?
Right.
And I was talking so fast, because when I get nervous, I talk fast. But after I got done with the show, Easy messaged me, and he's like, dude, that was pretty fucking good for a first-timer up there. He's like, you were standing on the stage like you've done this already before. I'm like, dude, I was just trying to be comfortable.
Yeah.
I had my leg propped up on like the stool, and I'm just sitting there talking and gesturing all this stuff. I'm like, I need to do this in front of a legit crowd of people who don't do stand-up and see how well I do. The only thing is I never know where something like that would be, I guess.
Yeah.
Not doing it there again. No disrespect to Easy, but it's just like I would like to be more in front of a crowd of people that aren't waiting to go up, I guess.
I know that there's a couple. There's stuff in the city all the time, but obviously, I mean, that might be about the same distance as here.
Yeah.
And the one in Kenosha I actually heard about through a buddy of mine, Carter, that I do another podcast with. So I wouldn't recommend that one. But I know Vixen, which is right here, has stand-up nights.
Do they?
I know they have stand-up nights.
Okay.
Do I perform there? No.
No?
No, I go there, I feel like, way too often.
I know a girl that has done stand-up there. I've tattooed her a few times.
What's her name? Do I know?
Allison?
No, I don't know.
Her name's Allison, but I can't remember her last name.
I don't know.
Sooner or later, if you don't go up there, sooner or later, like you're not going to be able to continue calling yourself a comedian. Brother.
Okay.
So you gotta go up there sooner or later.
I know.
You've been in there.
Yeah, no, I've been there a bunch of times. A friend of mine, Stephanie Robertson, works there. She hosts there. So I don't know. I've been there a bunch of times. I like going there to kind of, I guess, talent scout.
Yeah, just see what you're up against, kind of like, or maybe see what the scene's like.
That, but I mean, at the same time, it's like, just because, I mean, just like you, I live a dual world, so I'm just podcasting and then trying to do the comedy on the side. So it's like, I'd rather have some comedians come on here that I can riff with, and then go from there than be solely focused on like my prerogatives, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I workshop a lot on the podcast. I mean, some of it probably doesn't make it to the podcast, but I workshop a lot of stuff on the podcast.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, that's good. At least you know that. Some people try to do so much and not be able to. It's just like, dude, stop juggling so much. Invest all your time in this one thing.
Yeah.
Be really good at it.
Yeah.
Then start thinking about doing something else if you have that time to
be honest, that's how I felt. That's why I stopped doing music like how I was, because to be honest, I was like, one, I feel like I'm better at this, and two, it was just like, it was a lot trying to like almost serve two masters. Like, I'm trying to be like, all right, well, I need to work on this song. I need to get this feature done because they've been hitting me up about this feature. Yeah. But we also have an episode that needs to get out this week, and we need to be focused on this. And it was just a lot, like too much information overload to like try to get it done. So yeah, no, I feel that 1000%. Sometimes it's better to just focus on one thing and stuff.
Yeah, I think it depends on where you're at. Where I'm at was it was okay with me to take on. Well, I've always played in a band since Product of Hate. I mean, I went 2007 with Product of Hate, and I haven't stopped, right? And I always told, if I would date somebody, I told the girls, listen, I am 110% devoted to music. This is what I want to make my career. And if you're not going to be a part of that, then we can't date, because I just, it's a waste of your time. It's a waste of my time, and I don't want to do that to you. And like when I started dating Kayla, I told her that. I was like, listen, my band's probably going to get signed. I might end up going on tour for like a month. You going to be okay with that? And she's like, yeah. My band gets signed. I'm gone for a month.
That's a problem.
Come home for like about a couple months. Go back out on tour for another month. And she was like, this fucking sucks. But she still allowed me to do that, and she understood that, like, if I'm going to quit music, it's on my terms, because I know that if anybody tried to make me you give me that ultimatum, you better stop playing music or I'm gonna leave you, or something stupid, right? I'm not saying that she would ever do that, because she hasn't, but I just think that if you put somebody in that position, they're gonna resent the other person.
That's the breaking point, yeah.
Right, and I'm like, I would. Yeah, and when it comes to like something I invested a lot of time in, if somebody is really willing to just be like, I want you to quit your dream because I think it'd be best for our family, right? I'd be like, obviously, you're not the chick for me.
Absolutely.
You know?
Right.
Because the
why would
person
you
for you
think-
wouldn't put you in that position.
Right.
Why would you think a 9 to 5 is going to be better than what the
Right,
money
I
I could be making
hated-
for our family when I, you know what I mean, when I am making that?
But
kind of
even
money?
still, why? Like, what about if you really care about somebody, right?
Right.
You would care about them being happy and them being able to be content with the life that they're living.
Yeah.
And if I'm forced to do something that I don't want to do for you, I'm always going to end up resenting you. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's going to end up being a failed relationship, because at some point either I'm going to leave you or I'm going to do something that's going to hurt you because
Yeah.
I'm resentful, and it's never fair,
Yeah, it's a rough. It could be rough. Thank God, Kayla's cool as hell. she still is all supportive. I mean, shit, she was at the show bouncing around like crazy.
And selling merch too, right?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
helps sell a lot of merch. Like, she's definitely there. She backs me. And I remember when I first started getting into tattoos, I was like, "Hey, Nick, hit me up. He wants to open up a tattoo shop." And I think she was kind of skeptical on me doing that. I can't remember if she was for it or against it at first. I think she was for it. She's like, "Yeah, you should get into that." But then when I got into the shop and I was stuck there from 12 noon till 9 o'clock at night, every night for the next 3 years, trying to get walk-ins and promote myself, she hated that because I wouldn't be home most of the time. And she's like, "What the hell are you doing over there?" I'm like, "I'm just kind of sitting here with my dick in my hand waiting for a walk-in." She's like, "You could be home right now." I'm like, "I know, but I haven't made today. Like, I have bills to pay, so I should stick around." Because sometimes, or more often than not, you'd get walk-ins coming in an hour before close, and you're like, "Son of a..."
Yeah.
I waited all goddamn day, and then somebody comes in right before close.
Walk-ins have to be small though, right? They can't take 4 hours of your time afterwards.
Some tattoos can take up to 2 hours for a walk-in.
Okay.
But if you ain't got lined up, you'll take on that
take the walk-in,
project.
yeah.
I remember taking on a few projects trying to get my name out there, walk-ins, and I spent 2 to 3 hours on them.
Yeah.
And at that time, my rate was $70 an hour when I first started that shop. And once I started to get better, I moved to $100 an hour, which I feel is like the general, what people generally charge an hour. I don't think so anymore, really. And I think
Everything's gone up, yeah.
Yeah, they freaking.
Well, the value of the dollar is going down. People have to expect more.
I guess. Sometimes I feel guilty freaking charging people what I charge.
That was my follow-up question. So have you been tattooing the whole time that you've been doing music, or did you start getting into it afterwards?
I started doing tattoos in 2005.
Okay.
I was 21, just turned 21, or yeah.
Because I've seen your work, and it's not like that's like average work. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a tearing point between doing good music and then doing very good work.
Well, as soon as I got into a shop, that's where I put a lot of effort into that, and I quit my job, so I was all in on tattooing. So when I was not at band practice, I was at the shop.
Yeah.
And if I'm not at the shop, then I'm at home. And band practice is usually once a week. So I could easily manage my time.
How long have you had Insidious?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. It'll be 2 years this June.
And then is Trevor the first artist that you let come in?
I almost had another friend of mine come in. He was going to work with me for a little bit, and then he's moved down to Tennessee. Well, he decided to move to Tennessee right away, so that's what he did.
Is there better tattoo work down there?
No, he planned on moving down there.
Or business, I should say.
Yeah, he couldn't. It was getting slow for him up here,
Okay.
so he wanted to. He knew a shop down there that he's worked at, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go down there." And I got a lot of work when I did a guest spot, and I'm like, "Yeah, dude, you could work at my shop until that one comes up," because he had just left a shop, and he went to Tennessee to talk to the owner. And when he came back, he's like, "Yeah, I'm just going to go straight there. I'm just going to pick up my shit and go." I was like, "Yeah, dude, that's fine." And people are like, "Dude, did that piss you off?" I'm like, "No, I can give two shits." Like, I don't need to rely on an artist to pay for the rent as so much, which is kind of nice. I mean, yeah, it definitely helps. But I knew that opening the business, it needs to be something that I could still skate by, even if I'm by myself.
Adam, what a way to end off. All our cameras are just suddenly losing battery. We wish you could stay longer.
Man, next time, let me know.
There will be a part 2. Do you want to plug your socials before we get out of here?
Yeah, so if you're interested in finding my tattoo work and seeing what I do, you can look up MF Gilley on Instagram or Facebook. It'll have all my current work. Email me at mfgilleytattoos mfgilleytattoos@gmail.com if you want to set up appointments.
Not .net, .com.
.com. And for my band, Repentance, you can feel free to check us out on all the streaming platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Tidal, YouTube, Amazon, Pandora. I don't know what else.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do have a show coming up in Kenosha, I believe, midsummer. I'm not allowed to really say much, I don't think, right now. I don't want to, and then get in trouble.
Yeah, no worries.
So go to Repentance on Facebook or Instagram, maybe both.
Do they release anything on YouTube? I know your label, The Noble Demon, definitely releases some stuff sometimes.
Yeah, but they don't usually promote the local shows.
Yeah.
We'll handle that.
Okay.
And that's usually done on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
So if you just like our page, you'll be up to date on our next shows and stuff like that. And what else? Is there anything else? Yeah, check out Insidious Studios also on Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome, bro.
That's all I got. And
I appreciate you.
Hey, thank
Sincerely.
you.
Well,
fuck yeah,
reach
man.
around the mics. It's been a pleasure. I know Aaron, if he had a camera on right now, he would tell you the same thing. Thank you, bro. Sincerely. It's been a long time overdue, and I'm excited.
I love these things. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. Excited to see you come back, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Took you from the hood and I could never give you back. With your sexy ass speaking Spanish when you mad. But I just wanna let you know that someone loves you back. We might have our back and forth, but I love.
Oh, gotcha.
So baby girl, just strip for me and make this night a blast. We've been pulling in the sky, put some Marvin Gaye on, set the mood right.